Hello, welcome back to Beauty Bee. I'm Iris, and this is my first update for my 22 and 2022, yes, Project Pan. I ended up having to stay a little bit later at work than I had intended to, and I think that I'm going to lose sunlight within the next 25 minutes. So we are going to do our best to speed through this video. Hopefully it is not too much of a rush. If you're interested in the intro, any rules, goals that I forget to state, I will have my intro video linked. So let's start with my miscellaneous category because I've made almost no progress in this area. Let's start with this OGX Nourishing Coconut Milk Anti-Breakage Serum. I don't think I used this more than once. I cut my hair earlier this month. It's been probably 2 weeks at this point, and I just haven't felt any great need to put really any hair product on, so I haven't been. And that's also why I've only used a tiny bit of this Pantene Heat Primer. I forgot to mark this at the beginning of the year, so though I have used it probably 4 or 5 times in the past month, I don't think that I made this mark until like a week ago. So I'm still right at this mark, which that's what, probably between a quarter and a third of the way through the product. I think that once I am going in person to work, which should hopefully be soonish, maybe. I've been saying that for the last like 6 months, so hopefully then I will want to use this a little bit more often and use it up relatively quickly. But we're just not starting out on a good note. I don't know why I decided this was a good idea. But the next product is from The Ordinary. This is the AHA 30% and BHA 2% peeling solution, and I have not used this at all. Still all the way up here. One more product that I can't mark again, though I think part of that might be that I just was a little overconfident in my mark the first time around. This is from Oscar de la Renta. It's the Baya Blanca scent. This is the 50 mils, so 1.7 fluid ounce size. And I was able to shine a light through the bottle and mark it right here at the beginning of the year. And I've used this every day, often multiple times a day, because it doesn't last super well. In fact, it's nice. But when I turned a flashlight to it today, it looked like I was at the exact same spot, if not a little bit higher. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I incorrectly marked this, if I'm just not seeing the fill line through the bottle to the extent that I thought I was, or if Oscar de la Renta is trying to spite me and sneaking into my apartment at night and refilling this bottle. I assume that all of those are equally likely, right? And then finally, the one item in this category that I actually can make a mark on is from The Ordinary. Again, this is their Argyle Line Solution 10%. I was up here at the beginning of the year, and now I am down to here. I would guess that I've used this probably 6 or 7 times. It's a serum. I will use like half a dropper full, and I'll just get my forehead as well as like sort of along my cheekbones. And this is supposed to help with wrinkles on the upper half of the face. I'm not sure why it's targeted at the upper half of the face. I would be interested in doing a little bit more research on that. However, I've been saying that for like 10 months and I haven't actually done the research, so don't hold your breath on that one. Let's move now to lip products. For all of the lip products that roll up or twist up, you know, like a standard lipstick does, I will have a picture at the end that compares my progress from last month with this month's, or I guess where I was last month with where I am right now. So we're going to go through those pretty quickly. I have used Sassy Mauve probably 4 or 5 times this month. I don't see any difference just looking at it now with my memory. However, we'll see in the photograph if there is much of a difference. I'm also working on another Revlon Super Lustrous, this one in the shade Secret Club, which is a little bit more pink, a little brighter. And I have not worn this one quite as much as Sassy Mauve. I would guess that if I'd worn Sassy Mauve maybe 4 to 5 times, I've probably worn this more like 2 to 3. So I do not expect to see any progress on this, but maybe I will be surprised. I haven't actually taken the photograph yet, so it is as much a mystery to me as it is to you right now. Next up, we have this Pat McGrath Labs mini lipstick. This one is in the shade Executive Realness, and I think I only wore this once this month. However, it is a really, really tiny lipstick, and I've used up quite a bit of it, so it might not take much more than 1 to 2 uses a month to get this done by the end of 2022. However, it would be really nice to get this out of here a little bit more quickly than that. So I bet that there will be a little bit of visual progress on that. And a lip product that I really hope there will be obvious progress on, because I've worn it I think 4 times in the past month, including today, is my ABH mini matte lipstick in the shade Dead Roses. This is a really pretty color. I've been wearing this makeup for a few hours at this point. And I have a little bit of lip liner on, a plummy lip liner from e.l.f. around just my lip line. So I think it's looking a little bit darker than it usually does, but it's pretty close. It's a really pretty shade, but it is a very matte lipstick, which means that I often end up wearing it with this. Look at that segue. This is my Watermelon Soft Lips, and it's one of those really thin tubes, and I'm fairly certain that it was relatively flat at the last month's update, so I would guess that I have made some visual progress on this. I hope that I have, because I want to go through a few different lip balms this year. I want to just finish them and then roll a new one in. That would be fabulous. Here's the moment of truth where we look at all my roll-up lip products and see if I have visual progress. The last lip product that I have to talk about this month is also the one that I've made the most progress on. This is my NARS, what is this called? The Oil Infused Lip Tint. I have mine in the shade Primal Instinct, which is a nude, though saying that this is a nude, they're all so sheer that it doesn't really matter what color you get. But I was so close to the top at the beginning of the month, and now on February 1st, I've used up, what would you say, between 20 and 25% of it? Yeah, I love that. That's such good progress. And I actually think that I marked it a little too high. I think that I'm actually sitting at just below the mark. So, great progress on that front. And like with chapstick, I think lip gloss is another thing that I would consider just rolling in another one, because I just like to have one pretty sheer, easy, wear with anything kind of lip gloss going at a time. And I have quite a few of those right now. Let's move to eyes. The first eye product is this liquid shadow from e.l.f. This is the shade 24 Karat Gold. It's one of their liquid glitters. And you can see there's quite a bit of windowing on the side. I only used this once this month, but I was having a really hard time getting a nice, even coat of color on the second eye that I applied it to. I'm not having that problem right now. It looks gorgeous right now, but I could not get this built up on my left eye. I tend to do my left eye second for some reason. So that makes me wonder if I'm actually getting pretty close to needing to take the stopper out. And unfortunately, I found with my other e.l.f. glitters, once you take the stopper out, it's basically game over. You have maybe a month, maybe 2 months. 2 months is really pushing it before it's going to be a dried out mess. So, mixed feelings. I mean, I do want to finish this year, but I want to actually finish this year. I don't want to end up throwing away a product that's only half gone because it's dried out. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have a palette that I was working on for all of 2021. This year, I only have 2 shades from this palette in the project. The first is this deep purple, which was in my project last year. My goal is just to hit pan on the shades in this palette, and I am wearing a little bit of this purple on my lower lash line in my outer corner today. It's not a shade that I tend to use a lot of when I use it, and unfortunately, I haven't been using it super often. I would say that I've probably worn this 3 to 4 times in the past month, which is not bad. I'm quite happy with that, but because I use so little of it every time I use it, I don't see myself hitting pan very soon at all, unless I start using it over a much larger portion of my lid. The other shade, I think I'm likely to hit pan on a lot sooner. This peach shade, I have quite a dip going on already, and just looking in comparison to the other shades in this palette that I have pan on, I think that I'm not, within 2 or 3 uses of hitting pan, but I would guess that if I made a concerted effort, I could hit pan on this shade in the next 2 months for sure, and maybe more like 1 month. I'll be interested to see what I pull in my pan those eyeshadows, because if I end up with colors that I think would suit this pretty well, like using this as my crease shade or transition shade, I could see myself having pan in this shade by the next update. So there are 2 of the shadows in the project. Another 2 shadows that belong in this project are from my Maybelline City Mini palette. I am working on the 2 lighter shades in this palette. So this pink shade and this white. This near white, it actually has quite a bit of beige in it. I've been using to set my eyeshadow primer. I'll also occasionally use it up on my brow bone, though not very often. I tend to prefer something with a little shimmer in that area. This pink shade I haven't been using quite as often, and I think you can see that in my progress photo. I've used this in my crease a few times. I'm actually wearing it as a transition shade today, though I then went back and added more of this bright pink that I have going on in my crease. So I think I might have ended up covering it all up, but I did at least apply it today. Whether or not it's currently showing is unknown to me. But here's where I am on these shades. My goal with both of these shades is to finish them. And we've got a long time before that'll happen. The last eyeshadow that we have to talk about is a single. This isn't really a single. I'm pretty sure that this is originally from the Wet n Wild Petalette quad, back when Petalette was a quad rather than a quint. And my goal is to finish this shade as well. I'm wearing this today as a blush, though I feel like it's worn off a little bit. And I'm making progress on this. I really don't have a lot of product built up on the sides. There is some, but not a ton. I think that if I am just consistent about using this rather than my ColourPop Night Bloom when I want a more purpley blush, I could have this done by summertime. I don't know if I'm going to do that though. That would require me remembering to actually use my Project Pan items, and sometimes that's a struggle. So with that, we have reached the end of eye products, and now it's on to our last category, which is face. So first up, we have this Deluxe sample powder. This is from It Cosmetics. I believe it is their Bye 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 Pores powder, but I don't know. And I have definitely worn away at some of the weird texture that I had on this pan. I had caused some fault lines in this powder when I depotted it from its nasty little plastic packaging, and I can still see those in person, but I don't think you can really see them on screen much at all, which indicates to me that I must have used up a decent amount. Additionally, I can see in person that the powder in the pan is no longer very even. It looks like it's a little bit higher on this side, and then there's quite a dip through much of the center. So I'm making progress, but no pan yet, and I don't think there will be pan for quite a while. I have no idea how I'm going to track usage on this. I still feel like I might be right here on this Hello Halo liquid highlighter, but I'm having the same problem I did in the intro. I feel like there are multiple lines in this product, and I'm not sure if those lines are fill lines or if it's just where this big doe foot applicator tends to hit as you pull it out of the stopper, or I have no idea. But I have used this, I would say, 3 to 4 times in the past month, which I think is an amount that I'm happy with. My goal is just to reach, I think I said it was in between Hello and Halo on the packaging, but I don't know how I'm going to measure that unless it becomes way more obvious as I use up more products where the fill line is. In any case, I've been using it. That's really the goal of this project, is to get use out of my makeup, and that's happening. So, mission accomplished, kind of. And then I have one bronzer. My goal is to finish this bronzer. I've never finished a bronzer before. I think I've only hit pan in one bronzer in my lifetime. So because I have never finished a bronzer, and the only bronzer I've ever hit pan on was a super tiny mini in a palette, I decided to work on a deluxe size. This is a deluxe of Tarte's Park Avenue Princess, and there is quite a dip going on. And maybe this is just my mind playing tricks on me, but I feel like I can really see that circle in the center. I feel like I might not be that far away from hitting pan, but I've kind of been telling myself that for like 6 months at this point. So we'll see. We shall see. And then I have 2 powder blushes because I guess I'm insane. My goal with one of them is just to hit pan though, because I do have some tenuous grip on reality. This is my Bare Minerals Gen Nude Blush in the shade Calm My Blush. I have used this quite a few times in the past month. I would guess that I probably used it 7 or 8 times. And there is the tiniest little dip going on. Though I think that I actually use this pretty evenly across the surface of the product. So, who knows? I also have no concept of how deep this pan is. Like, I assume it does not go very nearly all the way to the bottom because that would be really deep for a deluxe sample. But it could. I mean, all blush deluxe samples, unless they are cream or liquid blushes, seem really giant. So, who knows? It could be with me for another 3 years. I have no idea. This one, though, I am determined to finish this year. This is in my Physicians Formula All-Star palette, but it is actually a Wet n Wild blush in Rosé Champagne. And not only do I have pan, not only have I expanded the pan that I had last month, but I've added a new little pan. And I think that my 2 pans will join together into one decent-sized pan relatively soon. I'm really happy about this. I thought when I repressed it, it looked really sad because I had quite a bit of pan in the original packaging, and then once I repressed it, it didn't look that much less full than any of the other pans in this palette. However, it is going pretty quickly, and I can tell that in certain areas the product is not very thick. So I'm hoping that I will continue to see pretty consistent visible progress. I would really appreciate that because goodness knows you don't get that all that often with project panning. So there is my longer than expected update. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if you would like to follow along with this project. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!